In this next motherfucking episode of Meet the Plug, we gonna talk about choosing your WordPress tech stack, which is the set of technologies that you use on your website, such as plugins. From there, we'll compare the top 2 productivity Goliaths for a little Google Workspace versus Microsoft 365 action. And then end the episode with a few insights on the creator economy for those who still don't see the value, think it's too late, or you think you're too damn old to join the damn club.
What's up? End of the line, please.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Look, we at capacity, okay? We'll let some people in when it clears out a little. You get right in, you go back to end of the line.
We come here all the time. It's not a big deal. It doesn't really look that crowded in there.
Hey, look, I don't make the rules.
Please.
No. Hey, what's up, shorty? What's up, pretty girls? See y'all when y'all get out. What's up?
What was that? What the fuck was that?
It is what it is, sweetie. Now, can you step to the back, please?
You don't need to call me sweetie.
Maybe you should listen
No,
to
you
your
don't need
friend.
to call me sweetie.
Like, you want to come in, you're going to have to go to the end of the line and wait like everybody else.
I'm not gonna go to the end of the fucking line. Who the fuck are you? I have just as much of a right to be here. What the fuck is your problem? I'm not going anywhere. You're just some roided out freak with a fucking clipboard and your stupid little fucking rope. You know what? You may have power now, but you're not God. You're a doorman, okay? You're a doorman, 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 doorman. So, fuck you.
I know. You're right. I'm so sorry. I fucking hate this job. I don't want to be the one to pass judgment, decide who gets in. Shit makes me sick in my stomach. I get the runs from the stress. It's not because you're not hot. I would love to tap that ass. I would tear that ass up. I can't let you in because you're old as fuck. For this club, not, for the earth.
So just remember, you're never too old and it's not too late. Pay them no mind when the gatekeepers play a hate. Without further ado, let's jump right into the episode. But first, let me plug in that intro. I'm your host, Maestro Stevens, the fresh prince of WordPress, and your plug-in for the plugins. On this podcast, we discuss everything in the world of WordPress, trends in tech, and making big business moves. So stay tuned as we deliver you a silver spoon of the juice, straight, no chaser, to you content creators. Now welcome to Meet the Plug WP, where we deal dope tech shit. All right. We back with another episode of Meet the Plug. Before we get into the topics, though, I want to thank y'all for listening. I want to thank everybody for showing love to the podcast. You know I got to plug this part in here because it matters. You matter. For everybody who has given us a review, I appreciate you. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so we can keep delivering you this dope ass content. Raw, straight, no chaser, to your face. Only the marker, no eraser. We ain't going back. And this podcast is just a taster, a little taster of everything that we have to come from Iconic Templates. Now let's get into your WordPress tech stack in this next segment of That's My Word.
Say another motherfucking word and this shit is over. And I ain't playing, nigga.
All right, so we gonna read from the good book of the WordPress Tech Toolkit, which you can find on iconictemplates.com under our free templates page. What I'm going to do is just go over the categories that the tech should apply to. And then in a bonus episode, I'm going to dive a little deeper into these categories. But I just want to give you an example or two of the technology that fits in this category, just to give you an idea. And you need to make sure that you apply what's necessary for your business or what's your needs. And make sure that things are compatible with each other or compatible with your version of WordPress. That's important, is compatibility. Okay? All right, so we're going to start off with hosting. And hosting is how your WordPress website goes live to the public. Because you can make a WordPress website locally, but hosting is how your WordPress website goes live to the public. An example of a hosting platform would be InstaWP Live. That's a managed hosting platform. And then we have SiteGround. That's what they call shared hosting. And the hosting platform is a set of technologies. It's a combination of technologies that helps your site go live and also protects your site and does various other things. But hosting is key. Another category is going to be backups. The thing about hosting is a good hosting platform has a good backup system. So that should be your first level of backups. And we ain't talking about backing that thing up like Juvenile. So make sure you have good hosting that has good backups. You also want to have a backup plugin. An example of a backup plugin would be Updraft Plus. That's just one example. There are many of them. You can look for them in the WordPress repository or the WordPress repo for short. When I say repo, for those of y'all who know you got only a couple days left, I ain't talking about the repo man coming to take your whip. All right, next category we have is themes. The theme is how you style your WordPress website. That's very important that you have a fast and lightweight theme. You can go the classic, traditional, or hybrid way with a theme like Cadence, or you can go the block theme way when it comes to full site editing with a theme like the 2024 theme, or you may be listening to this in 2025, and so WordPress may have the 2025 theme released. That's a block-based theme. Next, we have page building. This is how you build out your pages. Your page building method or system should be compatible or should work well with your theme. You don't want them to have conflicts. I'm gonna put it like that. You don't want to have no conflicts. So building out your pages can be done with something that's compatible with the WordPress editor or Gutenberg using a tool like Cadence blocks, or you could use core blocks. That's WordPress's native or default blocks, the way that you build out your pages. If you don't want to go that route and you want something a little bit more fancier that gives you more bells and whistles, you can use the tried and true Elementor page builder. That is the most popular page builder out. There are many others, but that is the most popular one. Just to give y'all a little context, we go the Gutenberg WordPress editor route right now with using Cadence blocks and Cadence theme. Just giving y'all some context. But you choose what you want to choose. When it comes to e-commerce, you have a few options as well. And so with e-commerce, the big kahuna, the 300-pound gorilla, is going to be a tool called WooCommerce. And this tool is what's called self-hosted, open source, which means that the data is on your WordPress website. It also means that you're going to have to add some add-ons or extensions to really get the full capability that you may be looking for when it comes to WooCommerce. WooCommerce is going to be your base plugin, and then you need to add on a few other things. Now, if you don't want to go the WooCommerce way, because that can get a little cumbersome, meaning that you could have your WordPress website bloated up, and technically it can cause your WordPress website to blow up, and not in a good way. But I rock with WooCommerce because it gives you a lot of flexibility when using other extensions. And again, it's self-hosted. The data is on your WordPress website. I also rock with, and I like a little bit more just for my needs, a tool called Shortcart. It's what they call headless, which is going to be the opposite of self-hosted. What do I mean by that? The WordPress or the e-commerce data is not being hosted on your WordPress website, which gives your website a little bit more of a speed boost. Also, a lot of the functionality that you would need in WooCommerce with those extensions or add-ons, those are baked right inside Shortcart. They've already made those functionalities inside of Shortcart. So Shortcart has a plugin, but it also has a platform, a software as a service, which means that if your WordPress website gets deleted, you still have access to data on the platform, the software as a service. The platform is connected to the plugin on your website. Next, we have security. When it comes to security, your hosting, like your backups, right? The backups should first come from your hosting. When it comes to security, the security should first come from your hosting. That should be the first layer of security. So make sure your hosting has good backups and good security measures. Then you double down, like with your backups, with a security plugin if it's necessary. Now here's the thing. All hosting platforms don't need an extra layer of security. And that's typically only when you're using a managed hosting or above. So remember how I said Insta WP Live? Well, let's say you use something like a Kinsta. That's also managed hosting. And Kinsta recommends that you not add extra layers of security plugins to your website. They do enough security and it will conflict. That's why I rock with Kinsta too. We use Kinsta for a long time, and I definitely recommend them. So just give you some ideas of security plugins. We have Solid Security. It used to be known as iTheme Security. And then if you're using the SiteGround hosting, like I recommended, they have a SiteGround security plugin too. But there are many security plugins out there. You choose what fits your needs. Next, we have forms. This is how you collect your information. When it comes to forms, you could use a plugin to get some good functionality out of a form, or you could use a block. For instance, we use Fluent Forms. Fluent Forms is a great form builder. There are many form builders out there, but Fluent Forms is one that we use, and it's a plugin. We also use the Cadence Forms block. It's an advanced forms block, to be specific. They have 2 forms block and one is advanced. It's not as fancy or as robust as the Fluent Forms plugin. However, it does fit a lot of your needs. If you don't need to do more fancier things than the advanced form block, well, then you don't need a third party or you don't need an extra form builder. But you do need to collect information in a robust way. You have to, whether it's collecting subscriber information, somebody signing up for a newsletter, or you have somebody filling out a form to qualify them for something. You need to have forms. Next, we have email. And I don't always recommend doing email on WordPress. Let's just keep it all the way funky. It's not always the best idea. However, I do recommend it when you have things set up the right way. One of the email providers I recommend, it's going to be self-hosted like WooCommerce, okay? So we're going to go back to that self-hosted word. It's going to be self-hosted like WooCommerce. I recommend Fluent CRM. There are pros and cons to going the WordPress email route versus not going the WordPress email route. There are pros and cons. We do use Fluent CRM, and I like to go the WordPress email route because I see the pros outweighing the cons, but that may not be your situation. So if that's not your situation, use something like a MailerLite or MailChimp. Next, we have automation. When it comes to automation, some people use this interchangeably with integration. For now, it's okay. In future episodes, we're going to separate them. When it comes to automation, automating things in and out of WordPress or automating things from WordPress to WordPress, you might want to check out something like a Shore Triggers. For show. It should be Show Triggers. But Shore Triggers, that's also a software as a service-like tool, hybrid tool like Shortcart. And they are made by the same family, same company, same brand. Shore Triggers has a plugin on WordPress that you can get for free, and it also has its own platform, its own software platform. So you can log in outside of WordPress into Shore Triggers. Okay, so it's headless. It's a headless tool. Or you can use something like Uncanny Automator. That's self-hosted automation. The WordPress plugin is on your website, and so is that data. Shore Triggers, the data is not on your website. So sometimes it's all about whether or not you want ownership. You want more ownership. That's the key. Even though it's not that they own your data with Shore Triggers, it's just maybe you want to have everything on your website. You want to host it yourself. Sometimes you don't. If you do host it yourself, just know that you need to be responsible with optimizing your website as well too. All right? Because it will slow down your website, hosting everything on your own website. Next, we have video. There's a tool called Presto Player that I highly recommend. It's one of the best video marketing plugins on WordPress. What's great about Presto Player is that you can use other video hosting platforms within it. For example, you can use YouTube within Presto Player. You can use Vimeo within Presto Player. Player. Or if you don't want to go that route, you can just embed a YouTube video or Vimeo video on your website. So it's your choice. Do your thing. But make sure you have video covered. Next, we have SEO, search engine optimization. You can use a tool like Rank Math. That is an SEO plugin. Then you can use another type of tool within the SEO category that helps with tracking pixels, like Facebook or Google, or I should have said Meta. So Meta, Google, Pinterest, other things, other pixels for tracking purposes. And you can use a tool like Pixel Your Site. That's also a free plugin. Rank Math is free. Pixel Your Site is free. Next, we have CDN. For CDN, I highly recommend you check out either bunny.net or Cloudflare. Those are two CDNs that are great CDNs to use. CDN stands for Content Delivery Network. And this is what you do, y'all. This is what you do when you want to be a little bit more international or global with your website. You pop on a CDN, Content Delivery Network, because it will help you not only sometimes with protecting your website, it'll mainly help you with delivering your website to people across the world so they have a similar experience and it's basically not slow for them. You pop on a CDN. It's like a cheat code. Sometimes it's a necessary cheat code. And last but not least, we have a category called custom. Now, this doesn't mean that this is only the tools that you use to customize your site, but these are just ideas I'm giving you to add a little bit more customization to your site. So you can use a tool that will add some custom posts or custom fields. Speaking of, you can use advanced custom fields or ACF for show, or you can use a tool like MetaBox. This will give you the ability to add more post types, things that you can create content with, formats, things like that, or other fields, things that are not default out the box with WordPress. So when you feel limited and you're like, wait, I need to add more types of post types to my website, you want to add on a custom field, custom post type of plugin. All right. That's how you can customize your site. So these are just some ideas I wanted to give you when it comes to your WordPress tech stack. And as I mentioned before, I'm going to use a bonus episode to dive a little deeper because I made a 45-minute-ish segment on this. And I was like, no, that's too long for a normal episode. So I'm going to say that for a bonus episode. All right. So this is what I wanted to give you when it comes to your WordPress tech stack, just some ideas. And that's your WordPress tips for this segment of That's My Word.
Say a another motherfucking word, and this shit is over. And I ain't playing, nigga.
Now, for those of y'all who don't know, because you're going to learn today, I am a productivity junkie. Or I love to make productivity efficient as possible. I'm a fan of that. I'm also a fan of consolidation when necessary. Sometimes you want multiple points of failure, and sometimes you don't. You have to decipher between the two what makes sense for your situation. Now, when it comes to productivity, let's just keep it all the way motherfucking real, y'all, okay? We gonna do that around her, but we gonna do it. There are two Goliaths in the space of productivity, specifically for business. But I would say even for normal, casual, civilian usage. But for business, there are two meccas in the space. I'm going to say two. Dos. For my Spanish speakers out there. A little bit of that Espanol. There are two. There is Google Workspace and there is Microsoft 365. And the reason why I'm not putting in Apple in here for you Apple heads out there, because I am an Apple fan. I'm an Apple guy. But when it comes to productivity from the business space, that's more universal. There is Google Workspace and Microsoft 360. So let's talk about it in this next segment of Dope Tech Shit. Okay, so when it comes to Google Workspace and Microsoft 365, the reality is it's really about what you prefer, because they do pretty much the same damn thing. They have overlapping features, and it's just they do it the way that they want to do it. But they have very similar categories of their features, which lets you know, well, hey, they do the same damn thing. Shit. It's just what you want to do, which way you want to go, what makes sense for your business. When it comes to their categories, we have things like collaboration, pricing structure, storage, their productivity tools, customization, third-party integrations, security, data recovery, and a couple more. I ain't gonna name them all, but those are the main ones. I myself, because this is the thing, I don't ever want y'all to think that if I say this is what I use, this is what you gotta use. Hell no. Double H to the L, no. No, you don't have to use what I'm using, but I'm gonna give you the juice anyway. So you could have the juice and then you could do what you wanna do with it. But I'm a fan of using Google Workspace. I'm in the Google ecosystem. However, I do work within the Microsoft ecosystem when I'm working with other people sometimes. Sometimes I'm gonna just kind of integrate into their system or process to a degree. But internally, when it comes to my business practices, I found that Google Workspace works a little bit better for my needs, okay? You use whatever you use because they're both the same damn thing, just by two different companies. Oh, and I did not mention AI, and that's because it's one of the newest categories and it didn't cross my mind. But yes, they both have AI capabilities. Google has Gemini and Microsoft has their Copilot. So just wanted to put that out there as well too. If you're like, hey, I want to use some AI with my productivity suite, well, they both have both. When it comes to Google Workspace versus Microsoft 365, I'm just going to look at a couple of their features and compare them between the two just so you guys have an idea. But like I said, they are very, very similar. There's not much difference. So for instance, they both have email capabilities. That's very important for your needs. You have Outlook versus Gmail. So whatever way you want to go down, I'm just letting you know that's a big deal because email is necessary. Most of us are using either Outlook or using Gmail. I don't think anybody is using Yahoo all like that. It's probably somebody using Yahoo out here. But we're talking about your everyday email type of scenario. That's what we're talking about. When it comes to documents and documentation and content, they both have the ability to do text documents and spreadsheets, and you can call it PowerPoints, you can call it slides, but I'll say presentations. They both have that. They both have the cloud capability to do so. For file storage, and I'm going to give you an example of just like their basic plans. For file storage, you get 1 terabyte when it comes to Microsoft 365. For Google's plan, they call it the business starter, you get 30 gigabytes of storage. So for Microsoft's business basic plan, you get 1 terabyte. From Google, you get 30 gigabytes. When it comes to making conference calls and things like that, they both have video. So you can use video, you can have video meetings, you can do video with both of the tools, just so you know, in case that's something that you need, is on your list. When it comes to apps, web apps and mobile apps, they both have web apps and mobile apps. Now here's the difference. Google Workspace does not have desktop-based apps. If desktop-based apps are what you need, well, hey, you might want to go the Microsoft 365 way. However, Google does have offline capabilities. So the main reason why you would want to use a desktop-based app anyway is so that way you can work offline in case you don't have access to the internet, right? Sometimes, you know, the bill didn't get paid. Or sometimes we're just in a bad location and we still need to get to work. Not go to work, but get to work. You feel me? And we need to do so offline. And that's where offline creation will benefit you. So just keep that in mind that Microsoft has that. However, you don't get that in their basic plan. You got to go to a higher tier plan to get their offline capabilities, all right? So just letting y'all know that. That's a big deal. That's a big deal right there. When it comes to security, they both have security and verified securities. You don't have to really worry about that. They both have collaboration. That's a huge thing to be able to collaborate live on a document or have a smooth collaboration experience. They both have that as well. And that's why I said these two Goliaths, these two major tools, 300-pound gorillas, maybe 400-pound gorillas, but they do the same damn thing. It's just really about your preference. That's really what it's about. But I recommend if you're not already using one, and that is the purpose of this segment here, it's not to say this versus that for the reasons of bashing one over the other. Nah, that's not what this is for. This is for encouraging you and letting you know that these are productivity hacks. They're productivity suites. They're ecosystems that will make your life easier because they consolidate a lot of other tools you would have to use otherwise that may not be compatible with each other. Now, there's somebody out there that's like, fuck that, Maestro. I still want to use what I want to use. And I'm like, hey, go ahead. But just remember, you are going to sacrifice some of your time to create this mix match, this mosh posh, sometimes even a bubblegum and shoestring situation or system within yourself because you want to avoid or because, you know, the privacy factors or you think that they're Big Brother. And I ain't saying they're not. I ain't saying they ain't Big Brother, all right? At the same time, unless you doing shit that's about crime, you know what I mean? Or you try to keep under the radar or be off the grid, we're all being watched, okay? You're being watched. As long as you're living in society, just know you're being watched. You just have to make sure you're being careful as well while you're being watched. Don't be sorry, be careful.
Don't be sorry, be careful. Lord, gee.
But the key is choose one, save time, because we don't have time to be wasting. But you gotta choose one. if you really want to be a productivity machine with your business, especially as a content creator. When you are by yourself or you have a small team, you don't fucking have time.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I emphasize that, for real. You don't have time because you need to be creating content, not messing around and trying to put this together and that together and do this and do that on the tech side. No, let these tools do a lot of the heavy lifting on your behalf, and you choose an ecosystem. Now, I will say that Google's ecosystem, when it comes to their apps, are a little bit more integratable than Microsoft's. But that doesn't mean that Microsoft is not the way that you may want to go. From a pricing standpoint, they're pretty much around the same pricing. That's what companies do. One will be a little bit more than the other, but then they'll offer these other features or functionalities to try to compensate for that. But they're pretty much around the same thing. So for example, Microsoft's Business Basic plan for monthly is $7.20. Now, I'm sure that's going to change. That's one thing I have noticed when looking at other articles. That's why I said I can't really look at articles for this segment to get a real current up-to-date look and view, because the articles were good, but their pricing was outdated. And these articles were published just a few months ago. And so these platforms be changing their pricing, especially since they've added this AI tool. The more advancement that they add to their offering, the more they're going to hike up the price. So just keep that shit in mind too. I just want to let y'all know, keep that shit in mind. But choose one of these ecosystems, Microsoft 365 or 365 or Google Workspace, formerly known as G Suite. It used to be called G Suite, then they rebranded it to Google Workspace. And for Microsoft, it used to be called Microsoft Office. Then they rebranded it to Microsoft 365. So for those of y'all who've heard those other names, that's why I'm saying what I'm saying, just to help clarify a little bit of the shit so you can verify what's it or what it is. And that has been your productivity hack for this segment of Dope Tech Shit. Now, when it comes to entrepreneurship, because I'm very passionate about this subject matter as an entrepreneur myself and as an advocate to encourage others to become entrepreneurs, if that's what you want to do and you're ready for the challenge, because it is a challenge. And what most people don't understand is that sometimes it's over glorified versus respected. We look at the rewards and not the risks. And that's something I see happen time and time again because of mainstream media, propaganda, social media that's doing that shit, trying to distort our view of what's really going on. So I want to get into it and talk about the creator economy and look at a couple of facts, data, stats, give you my anecdotal experience, but also give you what the reports are saying as well too. In this next segment of It's Just Business.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry for it was just business. You know, I'm a professional.
That's what everybody keeps saying. I'm just a professional. Everybody keeps saying it.
What I've done here is I've taken a couple of reports, market research reports, that are specifically talking about the creator economy, which is a segment in entrepreneurship. A vertical, a segment, a group of people, however you want to say it. There are other words for it, but this ain't what this podcast is for, is being politically correct. That's not what we do here, even though we do want to be correct as much as possible. When it comes to the creator economy, this is something that I have more respect for, because I've been a creator for a long time, since I was in my teenage years. Right now, I am 37 years old. I have been creating content since, my high school years and earlier. The reason why I'm not counting earlier is because, I'm a kid. Most kids are creators. But in high school, I definitely was about that penmanship. I used to love to write poetry, lyrics, jingles, songs, create concepts and ideas. And that's the reason why I'm bringing a lot of that back within my current creation process in this podcast and other things that I'm doing, because I suppressed a lot of that once I became an adult in my late 20s and early 30s. I suppressed a lot of my creativity in order to be more business minded. And then here we come with this creator economy that's killing the business game. So it's like I have to go backwards and reconfirm to myself that all that stuff I did before was worth it, and that I just needed to repurpose it for what I'm doing now. But when it comes to these reports, I just want to talk on a little bit of what they're talking about, and let's just have a conversation about that. I know we're not talking one-to-one with each other right now, but I'm on platforms too where you can talk to me and give me your opinion. You can also be talking to me right now, cussing me out or saying, "That's what's up, Maestro," on your end of this audio experience. I'll put it like that. Because I know I talk to the TV or to my computer or to a video all the time. Obviously, they can't hear me. I'm still talking to them though. Anybody else out there like that? Or is it just me? It may be just me. I don't know. It could be just me. But when it comes to these reports, I have 3 reports here. I could have got more, but I got 3 reports. I got one from Epidemic Sound. I got one from Kajabi. And then I got another one that is about the digital content creator market outlook. And these are all recent reports within the last year or so. So for 2023, 2024. Usually when it comes to reports, because good reports take a while to develop, you're going to see a report, let's say in 2025, you're going to see it for 2024. It's going to be the information that came out of 2024, but they'll call it 2025. So I just want to give you that quick hint for those who aren't versed in the market research or the market reports type of things. That's just a quick hint to let you know that just because it says a year older does not mean it's outdated. I'm telling you, it takes a long time to create a good report. You have to wait to the end of the year typically before you have the data that you need. So when it comes to, for instance, Epidemic Sound and their creator economy report, and you can look this up yourself. So you can look up the 2024 Future of the Creator Economy report. I'm giving you guys facts here, and you can source the facts, do your own homework. When it comes to things like career opportunities and content creation, I want to read you a couple of bullet points here because this is what gave me some indication of where the industry is moving, along with some other things. But this right here, I want to drop these gems on y'all. Drop this truth bomb. It says 54.9%, so let's round it up to 55%, of creators are now full-time. They said it's an increase of 3% from 2023. So majority of creators are now full-time, right? 50% is half, 55% is more. Majority of creators are now full-time. I am striving to get into that position of being a full-time creator. I'm a full-time business owner, but I want to be a full-time creator. And maybe they are used interchangeably. Maybe I'm saying it wrong. Who knows? When it comes to entrepreneurship, I'm full-time. But when it comes to being a content creator, that's something that I have for the last couple of years, I'm going to say last couple of years, have gotten more serious about. And this is my ultimate goal, so that way I can dedicate more time to you all, my audience. You know what I mean? I want to dedicate more time to you all, to provide for you all. I love my servanthood when it comes to clients. I love that. But I really rather outsource that more than anything and be more full-time in the content creator and become in this 55% full-time creators demographic. Then we have 49% of monetizing creators spend 20 plus hours per week on content creation. That's what I'm talking about. Like, I can tell you right now, I haven't hit the 25 plus hours of just content creation. That's because I'm still working in the agency aspect of my business, because that's what makes money right now. I'm not monetized just yet. Maybe when you're listening to this podcast, let me speak it into existence. Maybe when you're listening to this podcast, I am monetized by the time you listen to this. Right now, currently, as of the date of this recording, we're in September of 2024. So it's around September, October. I'm not monetized. We're not monetized. But it says 49%, that's close to 50, are doing 20 plus hours. That makes sense. which lets me know, motherfucker, you better be doing 20 plus hours. I'm like, okay, shit, we got to do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to fight the data. 74, or we can say 75%, because we don't round it up, 75% of creators produce video content with other formats like visual, that's 51%. Written, that's 47 or 48%. And audio, that's 42%. So you got to do visual, written, and audio, and video. The great thing about video is you can extract it and turn it to written and audio. Ain't that dope? You can take a video and you can transcribe it, and then you can repurpose it. Same thing with the audio. But just remember, they are not the same thing. This podcast, or the audience for audio-based podcasts, is not going to be the same audience for a video-based podcast. So you have to keep that in mind. But 75% of creators produce video content. So for those of you who think video is dying or video ain't it, wrong. 75% of creators are doing it. Which leads us to YouTube being 29%. YouTube at 29% has taken over TikTok at 18% as the top income generating platform, with Facebook at 16 or 17%. So YouTube is it. For those who think TikTok is doing bigger numbers than YouTube when it comes to generating income from whether it's monetization or other methods, and we're going to talk about that here in a second. YouTube is still it. That's why we're on YouTube with the Iconic Templates YouTube channel. I probably will do a Meet the Plug YouTube channel or do video versions of the podcast and put that on YouTube. But the way it is now, it wouldn't work. Those numbers have already been written. Those numbers have already been seen. As far as taking a audio-based podcast and putting it on a platform like YouTube and thinking you're gonna get hit, you're gonna hit some numbers or get traction. Nah, it ain't like that, son. It ain't like that, ma'am. Can't do it like that. Speaking of monetization, the methods include live streaming, ad revenue share, programs, and paid subscriptions. Those are some big methods of monetizing your situation or channel. Live streaming, ad revenue, and paid subscriptions. There are many other ways. I'm just giving you some ideas. Brand sponsorships have decreased. All right, they've decreased. So you got to think about that as well too. When it comes to brand collaborations, it says successful collaborators are seen in technology at 17% and entertainment at 16%. Successful collaborations, technology, entertainment are two of the big ones. And people who collaborate tend to do better. Not always, but tend to do better. Sometimes the challenges of not collaborating are personal beliefs and maintaining your creative freedom. I mean, it is what it is. But if you can overcome those challenges, you have a better chance. When it comes to AI, 84% of creators use AI tools. So for those who think that AI is not a productivity hack, and we just talked about having a productivity hack in our previous segment, dope tech shit, when it came to Google Workspace and Microsoft 365. AI is another one of those productivity hacks. If you are a content creator and you're not using AI, you might as well fucking quit, because you're gonna lose in the end. You may be doing well now, but I'm telling you, when these kids that are coming up, and I mean that specifically, if you are in your 40s and above, or your mid-30s and above, and you're not using AI, and you think you're gonna keep competing in the content creation market for the next 10 years, and you think you're gonna do better than these kids, you only will win if you have such a niche market that has been following you for a long time, or they value a sense of non-AI creation usage. That's a very small market. And if you want to play that game, hey, by all means. But for most of you out there listening to this podcast, that ain't gonna work for you. So use AI to help you create a little faster, a little bit more efficiently, but do not depend on AI to do it all for you. You gotta put the elbow grease in too. You got to fact check. You got to double check. Sometimes you got to do a rain check shit. You know what I mean? But you got to use AI. Then when it comes to Kajabi's report, their state of creators, when it comes to, they have creators moving to ownership. So the creator economy is projected to reach 480 billion by 2027. I'm going to repeat that shit. The creator economy is projected to reach 480 billion by 2027, with over 50 million creators aiming to make a living online. That can be you. You can be getting a piece of that pie.
We finally got a piece of the pie.
You can get a piece of that pie. And I remember watching Warren Buffett make similar projections. Warren Buffett, the guy who is against Bitcoin and digital currency for the most part. As far as I know, if I'm wrong, you let me know. He sure does recognize the shift in the economy when it comes to creators and money. And you know, Warren Buffett is about that money, right? And he recognizes the fact that the creator economy is a real lucrative business or industry or vertical or market, whatever you want to call it. Despite the large number of creators, 96% earn less than $100K a year. And they're relying often on unpredictable brand deals. That's why you got to be careful with brand deals, y'all. And you have to keep a lot of shit underneath your belt, under your watch. I'm not saying brand deals are bad, because I want to get one for this platform, for our platforms, but I will not sign a brand deal if it's not right. Okay? Because sometimes you have to give up a little bit of creative freedom for that deal. When it comes to value versus money, 60% of six-figure creators might work with brands that don't align with their values if the offer is substantial. That goes back to that brand deal. And 60% is a lot. So it's letting you know motherfuckers is starving out here. They need to eat.
Yeah, that brother's starving.
Yes, sir.
I don't care what country you in. I don't care what city you're in, what state you're in, what location. You gotta eat, right? And it says 60% might compromise a little bit of their values and views in order to eat. That's what that means. I'm saying it the way I want to say it, but the specifics are 60% of six-figure creators, 100,000 or more, and we just read that only 96% earn less than 100K. Only 4% earn more than 100K. So the winners that are winning, that's a small number, which it makes sense. It's like the whole 1% theory, the 10% theory. Or we can say the 80-20 rule, the Paleto's principle, where he saw that 80% of the land was owned by 20% of the people. It typically works like that. Look that principle up, the Paleto's principle. That's why people say 80-20, because there's a big thing to look at when it comes to 80-20. All right? Then we have reaching six figures quickly. 40% of the top earners reach six figures within 2 years, with niches such as online education and digital products. That's a big reason why I made a shift from my agency to online education and digital products. I didn't see this data or this statistic in order to encourage me to. I just knew that it aligned more with what I really want to do in life and what makes me feel fulfilled, because the agency has been the thing that has paid my bills. But let me tell you a little secret, y'all. Let me put you on a little bit of secret if you don't know, because you probably don't know. I don't speak on this often. I usually, normally, typically, generally use my agency, right, to help others, to service them, but internally to give me a budget and help me and my business and my team have what we need in order to help when it comes to our education and our do-it-yourself route. DIY, motherfuckers. Save yourself. I want to help people save themselves. I can't save you. I can provide you the tools, the information, the data, but I can't save you. You got to save yourself, and I want you to save yourself if that's what you really want.
Is this what you want?
'Cause I got to save myself, you know? And seeing this number helps encourage me and let me know, okay, maybe I will be able to get into that 6-figure marker, because that's what I've been looking for. I haven't hit that yet. I believe I've gotten close, but I haven't hit that yet. I want to hit 6 figures consecutively for about 4 or 5 years before I get to 7. I want to keep hitting 6 figures. 4 or 5 years. If I got to go 6, fine. But 4 or 5 years hitting 6 figures every fucking year. That's a goal of mine. Now, when it comes to this last report, the digital content creator market outlook, I'll put this in the show notes, but it's called the digital content creator market outlook. It was for 2023, which means it's still relevant. Market segments, or some top market segments, are bloggers and digital creators. Bloggers hold the largest market share at 47%, according to this report. Digital writers, I meant to say digital writers. If I said digital creators, I fucked up. Digital writers represent 28% of the market share. So bloggers and writers are what this is talking about. Now, when I see bloggers, I think that bloggers it's too vague, because bloggers are also sometimes vloggers or do video. They do other things. But basically, if you're a blogger, you're getting money from Google or advertisement, right? Because that's what's getting you traffic. Let's just put it like that. If you're a blogger, you're getting money from Google because it's giving you traffic. Same thing with vlogger and using YouTube. YouTube is owned by Google, all right? But let's touch on a little bit of geographicness. The United States leads the market at 17%, contributing 85% of North America market volume. Germany is the top performer in Europe, generating 32% of the region's revenue. And Asia expected to outperform other regions with significant contributions from China, India, Japan, and South Korea. So Asia Pacific, we have China, India, Japan, and South Korea. Those are top leading markets when it comes to content creation. And there's a lot more information here, like a lot more, to give you guys a little bit of this information and just get your thoughts. I know that when it comes to being a creator, it's not as easy as it may seem, because you have to be consistent and you have to be able to create even through your struggle. And if you're making less than 6 figures, you are probably in a struggle. If you are making 50,000 or less, you're probably going through some type of struggle. If you're making 20,000 or less, you're definitely going through a struggle. I ain't no probably. You're definitely going through a struggle. And when you're in a struggle, it's not as easy to create content, especially consistently. So don't look at content creators on YouTube videos or bloggers or vloggers or writers or biters, because some people just be biting shit. And it's okay to model from somebody, but just don't be biting people's shit verbatim. That's be fucked up. I'm not with that whole thing. But it ain't easy, man. That's pretty much what I'm gonna say. I don't care if you're a man, a woman, other. It don't matter what that shit is. It matters that you are showing up. And at times you're showing out. And you gotta be you. The closer you are to being authentic, you don't have to be completely 100% behind closed doors where you pick your nose or you fart, or you burp, or you do some crazy nasty shit that don't nobody else see. You ain't gotta be you all like that, but you do gotta be you to a degree that people can see the truth, who you really are. So good luck to those out there who are aspiring creators, and congratulations to those out there who are content creators. And let's walk on this journey together, because I know at times we get tired, but we don't have time to retire, all right? Not when we in our 20s and our 30s. No. And the best part about creating content, it's more fulfilling. It's more freedom that you have, unless you have to give up your freedom, unless you got to sell your soul to the devil, because some people be doing that shit. Hey. And that's just a metaphor. Doesn't matter what you believe in. That's just, an idea. All right. So we at the top. We at the top or the bottom. however you want to put it. 'Cause sometimes the top is good, sometimes the bottom is good. Started from the bottom, now we here. I don't know if I want to be quoting Drake right now, but either way, you know, we gotta make it, man. We gotta make it. And I definitely, I'm gonna send out energy to those listening to this that really want to make it and are serious. And just remember, sometimes business is personal, especially when your life is on the line about your business. At the same time, remember that it's just business.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry for it was just business. You know, I'm a professional.
That's what everybody keeps saying. I'm just a professional. Everybody keeps saying it.
Well, we have touched on a few things, so let's wrap it up like you putting on that golden wrapper. You know what I mean? We talked about everything from the creator economy, which we just touched on, to productivity hacks with Google Workspace and Microsoft 365. And we started off in the beginning of the episode with a little bit of WordPress tech talk. See how I did that backwards? I wanted to help you out with your tech stack. Just get an idea of what you should be looking at or thinking about when building out your WordPress website before we go deeper into our WordPress journey. Let's just touch on that. And so I hope you got something out of this episode and that you are looking forward to the next episode. Because we're going to bring that heat once again. And I have been your host. I am proud to be your host with the most who deserves a toast. I am Maestro Stevens, the Fresh Prince of WordPress. And we about to get out of here. Let's get out of here. We out this bitch. But before we go, let me plug in that outro. Beat the plug, beat the plug, beat the plug, beat the plug.
Is this what you want?
Fire. Say another motherfucking word and this shit is over. And I ain't playing, nigga.